Something wrong with the watch page there. Hello, hello. Ah, flat out faith. Vlad, hi. I'm not seeing anything on my watch page. Hi, hi. Can you let me know if you can see me? Well, you can see I'm having a cigarette. Oh dear, what's going on with the watch page there? I wonder what I can do about that. Yeah, hi, got people joining. I can't tell if I'm broadcasting or not. Let's see. You can see me. Okay. All right. Cool, man. Thank you. I'm just going to try and refresh my watch page and see if that does anything. Hang on. Ah, okay. Okie dokie. All right. Hi. Good morning, flat Earth researchers, debaters, and debunkers. We've only got a few minutes because we're going to have a power cut here in Phuket all day. But thanks for coming in. I just wanted to express my frustration at seeing the same old arguments and this unwillingness. We see the same old programmed responses, and unfortunately, it seems that it is. We all know this, but it's just a matter of faith. The whole globe thing is faith. What you have is people who refuse to look critically at the so-called evidence that we're given for the globe. And of course, it starts with something like this belief that people went to the moon, and the whole space exploration thing. If that wasn't a thing, people would be so much more empowered. But we have the same old stuff. We got people have these ideas about observations and eclipses and just off in this non-exist, living in a model. They live in the model. They do not live in reality. And a lot of the time, these people are, I'm sorry to say it, they are socially inept. They do not know how to look at themselves, how to interact with other people. They come along, they make ridiculous arguments based on these assumptions. We understand that we've been programmed to say these things, and it is not until we start looking at ourselves and the way society is, and the way we are hoodwinked and programmed from an early age in our cultures, that we can even start to think. But you can present as much. If people refuse to even critically analyze such things as space travel, or the fact that you can make an observation and it can be an interpretation, then they're a lost cause. It's not until they are ready to look at themselves. It's like any other cult member, religious belief, addict. It is not until that person is ready to examine themselves that they will be able to even start to come to terms with it. And all we're trying to do, of course, you get these angry responses from people that think that the flat earthers put themselves on a pedestal and that they know things, or they know more than science, and all. Oh, it just drives me nuts, because no, all we're trying to do is find ways to get people to look. Put on the glasses. And it just frustrates me no end, because sometimes it's just futile. Do you not think that means I'm giving up on anything? But it's what some of you Globers need to do is get yourselves some of these, yeah. Get some set squares, protractors. Start messing around. Start drawing, and start looking and examining how perspective can be perceived. I had a comment started off, someone saying, flurfers can't understand 3D. They can't think in 3D. No, the problem is that people don't understand that we're given these 2D representations, and it is simply the depth of field perspective that's ignored or converted into this curve. It is so obvious. And the real physics, such as Del from Beyond the Imaginary Curve has been trying to get across. I understand his anger and his frustration, because these things are so simple, so obvious. Yet the arguments you get are these ridiculous distractions, deferments, and such an obvious inability to face reality, to look at reality, and the reality of the fact that nobody knows the origins of this place. You have people claiming to know what the sun is, know the distance to the sun, and all this bollocks about looking up at the sky to determine the shape of the earth. Because that's the way we've been taught to look at it. And it's so sad to see, and because we're talking about self-empowerment. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to empower people to think for themselves, not to swap one belief for another and have another model. But to be bloody conscious, to be down to earth, to be realistic about what can and cannot be proven. There is no measurable curvature. There is no measurable movement of the earth. There is nothing whatsoever that dictates that we're on a globe. Nothing. And it all becomes clear once we can see how we've been deceived. But of course, people want to be deceived. We're all guilty of it. We all deceive ourselves, and we all allow ourselves to be deceived. It happens all the time. And the sooner we examine ourselves and take this inner journey, the sooner we realize that the real gravity of the situation and the reality of the situation we're in. Okay, I'm getting some messages in chat. Sorry, I wanted to let off steam because I'm just so frustrated. And these boring dicks that come up with these stupid arguments and just Savannah, have you considered that maybe you are mistaken? Of course I've considered that we're mistaken. That's something you do. Because we've already started to look at what is and isn't true, what is and isn't reality, what is and isn't programmed into us by our culture. So you talk about a huge ongoing conspiracy. The only reason it's huge is because every house has a box in the corner of its living room. That's the only reason it's huge. It's carried out by a few small people, corporate interests. And the rest comes down to people like you, Savannah, just going along with it. Because it scares you to think that something so big could be pulled off. It's not so big. If we hadn't been taught it since we were kids, if we'd been taught to think for ourselves, we wouldn't be in this mess. We wouldn't be arguing about it. We wouldn't have this false dichotomy. Just like the politics, just like everything. So your claim that a huge ongoing conspiracy that is wholly unlikely is fantasy. Because it is likely. Because inside your head, your ego will conspire against your mind, all on its own. There's a conspiracy going on in your head all the time. And that happens in all walks of life, in the corporate world, everywhere. You don't have to watch James Bond movies or Mission Impossible. This shit's real. And the deception is ongoing within ourselves, every moment of every day. And that's what people have to wake up to. And then you are empowered. Because you don't believe the bullshit. The bullshit fed to you by other people and the bullshit that we feed ourselves. Flat on flat earth. We are dealing with people with invested interest, lifelong student. Yeah, exactly. Debt slavery. We are in debt. All these flurfers who are apparently stupid and can't think have gone through all these things. They've worked out that the moment we're born, we're handed over to the authorities. Just like when you register your car, you no longer own your car. You've given it, you've paid for it, and you've given it to the state. And they'll take it off you whenever they like. Because you are no longer the owner, you are the keeper. And that's what happens to us when we have our birth certificates done. Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, the more distant something gets, the lower it appears. Yeah, it's so easy. Now listen, I got 2 minutes. I'm really sorry, this is a short stream, but we're going to get cut off, so I'm going to have to end the stream because the power's going to get cut off at 9 o'clock, and it's 2 minutes to 9. And that's one thing that happens regularly here in Thailand on time, is they will cut the power off when they say. So I don't know why, but thank you for coming along, and just keep it real. All right? Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Speak soon.